So, lads, I mean this when I say this. I want all the Stephanie White apologists to come out. Because it's very, very clear that Stephanie White is not the right coach for Caitlin Clark. I don't mean this when I say this. I don't think Stephanie White's a bad coach. In fact, I think Stephanie White's a really good coach. The fact that she was able to pull off a Commissioner's Cup win with the roster that they had, she is a great coach. We are not going to slander Stephanie White's ability to coach right here, but we are going to question Stephanie White's ability to specifically coach Caitlin Clark. And if you guys agree, subscribe. We are trying to hit 55.3 thousand subscribers by the end of the day. If we could do that, that would be absolutely incredible. But anyway, let's take a listen to this. This is, by the way, during the New York Liberty game. This is during the New York Liberty game. During the Liberty game. Let's take a listen. Or, well, sorry, not during. About the Liberty game. This is the game where Caitlin Clark hit five threes in the first half. This is the game where Caitlin was on like an all-time heater, and then randomly, she just stopped shooting. Like, that is the thing. That is the thing that happened. She randomly just stopped shooting while she was on an all-time heater. She was on an all-time heater, and she just randomly stopped shooting. But let's take a listen.
I would say more so professionally, like that Liberty game. I feel like as a shooter, like when you see like 2 or 3 go in, especially like for me, like if I have 2 back-to-back in a row, like I'm probably going to launch a third that maybe isn't advised by Steph,
sure.
but like I got to get it up. And then if the third goes in, like you're just hot. I think as a shooter, like your confidence just builds and builds and builds. It's just coming off your hand better. The rim looks big.
No wonder she's hesitant to shoot the ball. No wonder she's hesitant to shoot it. Even pre-slump, by the way. Even pre-slump. We were talking about it it was the biggest thing. The biggest thing was, I can't remember what game. Was the Valkyries game? The first game where everyone thought, okay, yeah, Caitlin's a little bit off. Because Caitlin was really good against she was really good against the Sun and was really, really good against the Liberty during like her first spell back from injury. She was really good in those first 2 games. In the Valkyries game, she seemed a bit off. And if you guys don't remember, there was a time where she was like wide open on the 3-point line. She like pump faked and like nearly turned it over. I think she did turn it over because she was scared to shoot the ball. And everyone's like, what has just happened? What has just happened? But I mean this when I say this. It's one of those things where it's you gotta let shooter shoot, and you gotta let Caitlin be Caitlin. You have got to let Caitlin be Caitlin. Absolutely. Absolutely, you gotta let Caitlin be Caitlin, because let's be honest, what is the biggest clip of the season? When Caitlin went and hit those 3 threes in 30-something seconds. So basically, she's saying her coach didn't want her to shoot that 3. And I understand the coach going and saying, we're going to, if you're missing shots, try to get something easier. But, like, you can't tell a shooter not to shoot. She's going to figure it out. She's going to figure it out. You cannot tell a shooter not to shoot. All I need was that clip for talking about the Mavs playing better without Luka. Stephanie White will be the reason Caitlin Clark is the reason they lose so many fans. I think Stephanie White in general is going to be, I think she's going to be, like, go down as the Paul Westhead. And I stand by the Fever should make a choice between Stephanie and Caitlin. Let's be real. I don't see any scenario that they choose Stephanie White and they don't choose Caitlin Clark. But I think there has to be some sort of an ultimatum, because for the good of basketball, we can't see Caitlin Clark second guessing jump shots. We can't see Caitlin Clark like being scared to shoot the ball. Like, that's not good. That's not good. Like, she's basically said, oh, Steph didn't want that after the 3rd shot. So, that crazy session of play? That crazy shot over Stewie? All that stuff that only Caitlin Clark does in the WNBA? Apparently, no, the new coach doesn't want that. And I understand the logic of, they're not going to win with Caitlin Clark. And Caitlin Clark in college, she said it earlier in this clip as well, that in college, she always felt like she was on a heater because whether they won or lost came down to how she shot the ball. But I'm like, in the pros, a large chunk of the fan base comes down to how you're shooting the ball or how you're playing or how you're pushing the tempo. Like, you cannot tell a player like Caitlin Clark to not shoot the ball. Ever. You cannot rein in a player who plays on instinct like Caitlin Clark does, and whose instincts 80% of the time is to shoot the ball well. More often than she does most of the time when she does dumb shit, it's because she hasn't touched the ball in a while. And we can be honest there. Most of the dumb stuff that Caitlin Clark does comes from when she hasn't touched the ball for 5 or 6 possessions and she just forces something. But at the end of the day, it's something that the Indiana Fever need to let her do, because it's more important for the good of the game that Caitlin Clark... And by the way, look, this team doesn't go anywhere without Caitlin Clark being Caitlin. The team does not go anywhere without Caitlin being Caitlin. We know that. Everyone who watches the Fever knows that Caitlin being Caitlin is the only way this team even wins a game in the playoffs. If you want Caitlin to play like Sue Bird, Caitlin's not very good as a Sue Bird. Caitlin's not very good at being anyone other than Caitlin Clark, on or off the floor. And I don't think that's Stephanie White realizes that Caitlin Clark is Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is Caitlin Clark. No, she's not Sue Bird. She's not this other random player that you used to coach. She's not Alyssa Thomas. Caitlin Clark is Caitlin Clark. And her coach doesn't seem to realize that. Every interview you hear, it does not seem like Stephanie White, the coach, realizes who her best player is. Or not even like how good Caitlin Clark is, because that's subjective. She would rather Caitlin Clark be the idea of what she thinks Caitlin Clark should be. And let's be honest. We can be completely honest here. Caitlin Clark is not good at being anyone other than Caitlin Clark. And Caitlin Clark is very much a one-of-a-kind WNBA player. She is an absolute one-of-a-kind player. Because people are so obsessed with turning her into Steph Curry, she's like, oh, we need to run Curry Warriors offenses. She's like a mixture between Magic Johnson and Steve Nash. She's like Magic Johnson with range. And, by the way, when it comes to those long shots, people are like, oh, she needs to stop shooting them. Like, you do realize 80% of Caitlin Clark's gravity comes from her range. Because of her ability to go on a heater. That is why teams aren't letting Caitlin Clark do it. And Tina Charles even said it. They were like, at the end of the game, Caitlin was really struggling. She literally said, and she was like, look, we're not letting Caitlin Clark cook us. And they were like, when she hit the 3 at the end, it's like, she's going to score eventually. She's going to destroy us eventually. We're just not letting it happen. It's like, we're not going to stop guarding her because she's going to destroy us eventually. But then you've got a coach that doesn't want Caitlin to be Caitlin and wants to take away from the good things Caitlin does. And then suddenly Caitlin's gravity is gone. Suddenly you're asking Caitlin to be someone she's not. And which has happened this year, and she looks bad. Like, Caitlin Clark is bad at being anyone other than Caitlin Clark. But I've never seen this before. Like, a team on the up and up, this exciting team that was ran by one player, and a coach it's sounding like a coach actively trying to stop what the player does well, what the fans want to see, what the team was succeeding with in the previous year. It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. And I think Stephanie White needs to either adapt, it's adapt or die. And we said this as well when it came to like Erica Wheeler, that it's one of those things when it came to Erica Wheeler, where we were like, Erica Wheeler has to adapt or die when it came out of the Olympics, and Erica Wheeler adapted. She adapted and she became a much better player. Much, much better player. Post-Olympic break last year. Kelsey Mitchell, adapt or die. Adapt or die when it comes to Kelsey Mitchell. And you've seen sometimes the team has looked very, very poor when Kelsey Mitchell's just doing Kelsey Mitchell things. Sometimes the teams look good, but like, the team cannot win. I mean this when I say this. A team winning games based on how well they take, like how well they make difficult shots is scary. And Stephanie White's system is reliant, because this team's not good enough on defense like the Connecticut Sun last year. It relies on the team making difficult shots. Stephanie White's preferred system relies on the team making tough shots, relying on bad decision makers to make good decisions. It's relying on bad off-ball players to be good off-ball players. It's relying on players not to get in each other's way, which they do a lot. Like, that system's not going to work long-term with this team. It's not even going to work short-term with this team. But by the sounds of things, she's trying to turn this team into something they're not. Turn Caitlin Clark into something she's not. Literally, Caitlin Clark on a heater being told not to shoot. Not to shoot on a heater. There's not one coach. There are 13 WNBA coaches. 12 of them, when Caitlin Clark makes back-to-back threes, want her to shoot the third. The problem is that the one that doesn't is her fucking coach.